Hey everyone. I just wanted to talk real briefly about um, kind of like the whole 2012 prophecy type thing that's going on, as well as what I call brainwashing at the mass level. What we mean when we say that we're all being hypnotized, how we're hypnotized. So, because a lot of people don't really understand what we mean when we use the term hypnosis. They have kind of like a theatrical type portrayal of what hypnosis means, or it's like you go to a hypnotist and you're sitting in the chair and you go through the whole relaxation process and blah blah blah. But they have this like kind of distorted idea about hypnosis. So I just want to kind of like tap on a couple of ideas to let you know how we are being hypnotized, how easy we are to hypnotize. Okay, some people think that oh well, I can't be hypnotized, or it's like, my God, give it up, right? The question is, when are you not being hypnotized, right? Because the fact of the matter is, we spend most of our time in various states of hypnosis. And what that means is that we are subject to our environment, our, other people, the media, everything that we're exposing ourselves to influences us and affects us in a certain way. And the subconscious mind, I want to just briefly tap on, not to give a full lesson, but just to briefly tap on what's the difference between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Because most people, when you use the word mind, they're thinking of the conscious mind. Most people don't really understand the subconscious mind, and we kind of know we have it because you've heard the term before, right? But we don't have a real realization built around what the subconscious mind is. And the conscious mind is the talking, language-oriented words. It's the internal dialogue that's always, that voice in your head that's always talking about stuff and telling stories and, going on about stuff. It's like we call the broken record. It's always going, right? It's thought as spoken word that's being spoken internally. The subconscious mind is the body consciousness. This is the intuitive component. This is the sensuous mind that's very into naturally the physical senses, vision, hearing, touching, smelling, tasting, feelings, emotional feelings in the body that causes bodily sensations. And it doesn't relate to language as far as words. It's the emotional, feeling, experiential realm. So it works off of pictures, images, scenes, movies. It creates ideas as a living reality that it imagines, okay? And this is why, if you've ever engaged in hypnosis, it's usually done through a metaphorical process or a kind of storytelling. This is where all the myth comes in. Mythology are metaphorical stories that have whole bodies of knowledge in them. They have whole ideas inherent in them that, while we do get to a certain extent at the conscious level, the subconscious mind totally gets it. Okay, this is like speaking the subconscious's language. So how we program the subconscious mind is through drama, stories about stuff that cause us to imagine events that have huge emotional charges to them, because emotions are real engaging. And you do want to notice anytime that you're being subject to something, you want to really get good at identifying the emotional component to anything, whether it's an idea, a story you're being told, something you're asked to believe, how you're being talked to, what's going on in a situation, because the emotional component is the expressive. Emotions motivate behavior. People act on emotions. They don't act on fact, theory. I could tell you a really factual, cool idea and have no emotion behind it, and chances are, not only will you not think about it tomorrow, but you won't take any kind of action based on it. But if there's a huge emotional charge behind an idea, you'll think about it and dwell in it and wonder about it, and it causes you to take action in your life, right? And it becomes a form of expression once you kind of embody it and you know, picture it and start believing in it and stuff. You will actually literally start acting it out. So, but the number one requirement for hypnosis, okay, is what we call a relaxed, open, receptive mind. And all this really means is we don't have to go through the full relaxation process like we do when we're actually doing a hypnosis session. This is because we're trying to intensify the experience, to go right to the subconscious mind and do work, right? But in a normal sense, right, any time that we're not defensive, not having to protect ourselves, guard ourselves, we're not being challenged in any way, we are basically in a receptive state of mind. And that means that we will readily expose ourselves to anything going on, and we'll allow it in. We don't challenge it, we don't reject it, we don't deny it, we let it in, we think about it, we have an experience of it. Sometimes we consider it, we contemplate it, we wonder about it, we talk to other people about it. And this is what we call planting the seed, because all we really need to do in any given situation is introduce the idea, which means that you willingly take it into your mind and think about it. And once the seed is planted, once the idea is introduced into the mind, how you develop that idea is based on the emotional charge that's associated with it, okay? Thought and emotion are always married. And how the thought develops is shaped or determined by the emotional component. So one of the first things you want to notice about any drama, any story, any prophecy, anything that you're allowing yourself to become exposed to or involved in, is what emotion is it appealing to, because that's going to determine what kind of reality you create in your own imagination as you continue thinking about the idea after you turn the TV off, after you disengage from your computer. When you think about it tomorrow, you think about it 2 hours from now, it's going to determine how your thoughts build it into a full-blown reality. It's going to be an expression of the emotion that it's stimulating in you by how it's being presented to you. So that's one of the base, but you want to notice, okay? And for all those people out there that were really into The Secret and all that, and really into, because a lot of the language being used now is, you know, higher vibration, higher consciousness, shifting consciousness to a higher level, all that type stuff. And yet, side by side with that is all this doom and gloom and negativity and awfulness and fear and just anxiety and stress, okay, which is what creates your vibratory frequency. Your state of mind is your vibrational frequency, okay? So they're literally using the sensationalism, the hype, right, and the drama to engage you in the very thing we don't want. What's wrong with this picture, right? No, they're engaging your emotions, your mind, your thought processes, your dwelling, your freaking out, your stressing out in the very idea that we don't want to create, because they're calling it a prophecy, which means that they're saying that this is what's going to happen, forewarned is forearmed, all that type stuff, and that's how they're presenting it to you as fact, right? And what happens in this case is, first of all, not only do we engage, do we believe it, do we fear it, do we, you know, start anticipating it, start expecting it, we start seeing it in everything that we, you know, everywhere we look, we start seeing it and going, oh, okay, yeah. And that just kind of validates the belief, right? But we are now in the process of co-creating it. We have created the vibratory frequency using our own minds and emotions to create the very reality that we don't want. We're going to co-create our own demise, and we're going to do it willingly, because we just engage in anything that's out there that anybody wants to throw our way through a sensationalized interpretation of what they're calling facts, okay, which outside of what's happening in the world that we can actually witness and be a part of, there is no such thing as a fact when we're talking about a prophecy that's several thousand years old that came out of a culture that used symbolic language that we don't even know how to interpret right now, you see? So, but learn, just unplug, disengage, and ask yourself, move over into a different space and ask yourself, what can we do, okay? If we don't want this, right, and we kind of see the demise of the world, and we kind of see where we're heading and how it's going to come, what do we want to create? What is the solution? What's the alternative? What reality do we want to participate in to co-create our future? Start talking about that and attach positive feelings to it, because we move towards positive, we move away from negative, right? Fear causes us to pull back and contract. Love causes us to expand and move into. So attach very positive emotions to it. Bring it into your everyday life. Adjust your lifestyle to not use plastics, to not use aluminum foil, to reduce your meat eating. I mean, be productive in your life as far as being the solution and not continuing to create the problem or continuing to be the problem, so to speak, because even though you know this stuff is bad and it's not biodegradable and it's poisoning your body, you keep doing it anyway because it's convenient, right? Because you've just been trained to do it, so you're just like, right? Thoughtless, right? No realizations being brought to your own behavior in your own lifestyle, right? So, but learn to use your mind more effectively to create the desired reality, infuse it with positive emotions, and then become dedicated or committed in your own personal life to bring about not necessarily the change itself, but certainly what represents the change, right? Because it's the micro macro, right? What's going on at the world level, we are participating in at the individual level through our lifestyles. So if we look to change our lifestyle and bring those corrections into what we're doing and the consciousness that we are embodying, we can literally, that's how we shift the mass consciousness, by being the change we desire, creating the state of mind out of which the solution is the reality, the alternative is the reality, the desired experience is the reality, instead of just being consumed with the very thing we don't want, that causes us to give up, quit trying, feel hopeless, and resign in our life and just allow them to have their way with us, right? We become mindless robots. So let's turn the table. Let's take back our power. Let's disengage from all the electronical drama and all the media crap that's going on and begin getting back into life, getting back into living, spending time with our children, being outside, and adjusting our lifestyle to represent that change. So that's that's kind of what I have to say about the whole mass brainwashing, the group mind that out there right now is basically poisoning us, right? We're actually committing suicide, and we're not even conscious of the fact that that's what we're doing. So so anyway, just think about it and learn to use your mind in more empowering ways.